So my excitement is learning about the digital world, learning about because we can give you numbers. We can say Discovery Channel, we're in 260 million households. Pursuit Channel, we're in 60 million households, and that's not even counting the digital world, the search engine, and where you can find it on your phone.
Yeah.
So.
Positively West Virginia is powered by Breezeline high-speed fiber internet and sponsored by Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Key of Morgantown, Interaction Media, and Storymaker. With the help of these sponsors, we are able to share the positive business stories of West Virginians, including the one featured in today's episode.
Well, folks, we're visiting today with Curtis Fleming. He is the host and founder of Rod Chronicles. Curtis, thanks for being here on the podcast and in the studio here in Morgantown.
Hey, thanks for having us. You got a beautiful studio.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. I'm really anxious to share your story about Rod Chronicles. Curtis, take us to the beginning. Talk about Rod Chronicles and what you all do.
Yeah. So, right now we're a TV show, and I guess everybody's a YouTuber because you throw things
right.
over to YouTube.
That's right.
We're learning more day to day about YouTube, but this is our 22nd season.
Amazing.
It is crazy. We started on the Sportsman Channel, and then the Sportsman Channel and Outdoor Channel kind of combined, and so we were on the Outdoor Channel, and then Discovery Channel reached out to us and said, man, your production value is really cool. You go to some cool places, and we'd love to have you over on Discovery.
Yeah.
So we made the move over there, and then Pursuit Channel has actually more households than Outdoor Channel and Sportsman Channel. So I got to be friends with the president of Pursuit Channel, and so we've been over there and just love that relationship.
Yeah. So you're doing great things, not only in the United States, not only in West Virginia, not only the United States, but around the planet. And I think it's really fascinating. How did you get started?
Yeah.
21 years, 22 years ago in this whole business.
So, I was a teacher for 15 years.
Yeah.
And, I tell people for 15 years, I was trying to figure out how not to be a teacher. It's funny because when I run into Senator Manchin, he always says, if you turn your passion into a job, you'll never work a day in your life. Now, as well as I do, people see us from the outside and say, oh, they got a cool gig.
Yeah, you fish for a living,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we do work, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
It's not just fishing.
That's right.
I had no experience in it. I just had a concept. I wanted my show to be not about me. I wanted to tell good stories. I wanted to fish with just different people, whether it's celebrities, whether it's the mechanic down at the garage, veterans. We love taking veterans out and fishing with them. So a lot of times I don't even fish on my own show, Jim. It's about just getting out, telling a really, really good story.
Yeah, and you're excellent at it. You've got a great craft, and you've been able to hone that over the years. What was that like? Taking kind of a leap of faith almost. From being a teacher to being the host of a national TV show, right?
Yeah.
International now.
Yeah.
What was that like? It had to have been scary for you.
Well, I had two little kids at home,
Yeah.
and like yourself, married, and the first objective was to go home and pitch it to my wife,
Yeah.
and saying, hey, I'm gonna quit my job and start a fishing show.
How'd that go over?
Yeah. Well, I practiced, Jim, in the mirror when she was at school. She was a principal at the time, and
That's great.
and I would just sit there and be like, honey, I want to quit my job and start a fly fishing show. Shelley, I want to start. So I'd planned this for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I came home one day and she was on the treadmill working out, and I kind of just waved at her and she kind of gave me the nod, and I was like, man, she's smiling. She looks like she's in a good mood. This might be the time to do it,
That's great.
So I was like, Shelley, I'm thinking about quitting my job and starting a fly fishing show. And she looked at me and she said, okay. And as soon as she said that, I just remembered what my teacher in marketing told me back in the day was like, if you have a deal, just shut up. so I was like, okay. And I walked away, went upstairs, and I was like, wow, life's good. My wife is so cool. Well, she walked around the corner and she took out her earbuds and she said, honey, I didn't hear what you said. So I was like, wow.
There it is.
Yeah, I got to do this again. So, she asked me, she's like, can you make money at it? Can we feed our kids? How does this work? And I said, I don't know. I said, I think you take a drink of a Coca-Cola, show the brand, and they pay you a lot of money. I said, I'm going to figure this out, though. But literally, we filmed a pilot, sent it in to the Sportsman Channel, and they said, can you give us 12 more just like what you sent us?
Wow. And
I was like, wow, this could get real, like really quick. So I grabbed a producer that helped me do the pilot. I grabbed a local deputy chief of police who loves to film and shoot camera. And we flew into Jackson Hole, and literally we went from Jackson Hole to Montana to Colorado, and we came home after 15 days with like 6 shows.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, this is all in the plan. But, Jim, we're at the age where we remember, Marlon Perkins. It was Mutual of Omaha presents Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
So there were so many people that thought the name of that show was Mutual of Omaha and they did such a good job of branding it. Well, I wanted my show to be Wild, Wonderful West Virginia presents Fly Rod Chronicles. And that was my dream all along because I just love our state. I love what we have. And I wanted to show it to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So at the time, I went in and talked to Governor Manchin, and he was a governor then, and he's like, I don't know, you got to prove yourself first. And starting out in business, I was like, oh man, So we ended up getting a headline sponsor right off the bat. And then after 3 years, I revisited West Virginia, and they've just been a great partner.
That's great.
Yeah.
The state of West Virginia, tourism is big in West Virginia.
Yes.
The investment is important because we got to expose West Virginia to the rest of the world, right? That's one of our biggest industries, and especially for small business, right?
Right.
We interview a lot of them here on the show, and that relationship that you've forged with the state of West Virginia has got to be powerful then.
Yeah.
For you.
It starts with the governor, right?
Yeah.
And right now, our current governor, Governor Justice, he's just a big kid that loves to play in the hunting, fishing world, right? Yeah. And that always helps. You're right. We try to drive tourism, but I get to work with the Division of Natural Resources.
The DNR, they do a great job here in West Virginia.
We have the best. We really do. These guys, they just work endless work. And they make it fun too. It just seems like a fraternity with these guys,
Well, they do a great job of protecting, our natural resources, not only for fishing, but for hunting as well, and other things too, right? Wildlife, so that we can all go out and enjoy the great outdoors. That's what they're doing. So I think it's great and honoring for you to be able to promote them as well.
Yeah, and
awesome.
We get to also show off our state parks, and we got some of the greatest state parks in the world.
Absolutely.
And
Curtis, we're going to take a quick break. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, West Virginia.
At Freedom Kia, you'll find the perfect ride and savings for your summer adventures. This summer, dive into savings and fun. Just down the road is the Aquatic Center at Milan Park, where you can cool off and have some fun.
Committed to fair pricing, excellent sales, and service with no hidden fees. You'll love the all-new 2024 Kia Sportage X-Line all-wheel drive leasing for just $239 a month.
So whether you're diving into savings or fun, Freedom Kia and the Aquatic Center have got you covered. Visit Freedom Kia today, right off of exit 153 on I-79 in Morgantown.
Folks, we're visiting with Curtis Fleming. He's the host and founder of Fly Rod Chronicles, international hit TV show on fly fishing, and most importantly, the stories that he tells. Curtis, when you meet somebody for the first time and they say, "What do you do, Curtis?" What do you tell them? What's your 30-second pitch?
My 30-second pitch is 2 words. I fish, right?
I love it. There you go. That's a 2-second pitch.
Yeah, there you go. And as you know, being in production and what you do, Jim, I fish is probably 5% of my job.
Yeah.
You know, it's about relationships. It's about, you know, when we put our show together, we just want someone to be able to just kick back and for 30 minutes just come along on our travels with us.
They can almost, a viewer can live vicariously through your show.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, they're out there on the stream with you. They're out there, you know, kind of learning about, whether it's West Virginia or another destination, they're learning about the people behind the scenes too, which I think is cool.
Yeah, and plus also, Jim, it's not just me fishing, and that's when we started episode 1. I wanted to tell a good story.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I've got a family, a wife, and 2 daughters that just love to fish.
Yeah.
So they've gotten to come along. They actually have more IGFA world records than I do. These
Amazing.
girls can fish, and they enjoy it. So I hear a lot of, man, we watched your little girls grow up on the show. Then we watched them get married on the show.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to be able to
It's pretty cool.
do that. Yeah.
Well, you've been doing it for a couple of decades now. What's the thing you're most excited about for Fly Rod Chronicles right now, Curtis?
Yeah. So, you know, I heard for years, Jim, that TV was going to go away. Well, that linear TV that's up on the wall or wherever, it's never going to go away.
Right.
Now, how they get it to that TV, that game has changed a lot.
Yeah.
So my excitement is learning about the digital world, learning about, because we can give you numbers. We can say, you know, Discovery Channel, we're in 260 million households. You know, Pursuit Channel, we're in 60 million households. And, you know, that's not even counting the digital world, the search engine, and where you can find it on your phone.
Yeah.
So,
like you said, YouTube and social media, Facebook and things of that nature too.
Yeah. So that's exciting to me. We went down to ICAST this summer down in Orlando, and we met with Discovery Channel, Pursuit Channel, and those guys, and they were like, "Hey, also you do know you're on Amazon Prime, right?" And I was like, "How long have I been on Amazon Prime?" And they're like, "A year," and they're like, "You've been getting a check, right?" And I was like, "I think so." so just on Amazon Prime, that's another 200 million households. Oh. It's crazy. Yeah. The reach that this show's been getting.
Yeah, and it's not just, like I said, in the United States, it's global.
Yeah. So we do.
That's the cool thing.
Yeah, like Wild TV up in Canada is kind of like the outdoor channel of the U.S. So we air up there as well. So we also air in Europe in a few places, and I haven't had to learn how to pick up any new languages, fortunately. So I guess they dub all that over for me.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool to go to a foreign country even to catch a fish, right? That's kind of a neat experience.
It really is. We've been blessed to be able to travel the globe, you know, and it's not just trout fishing here in West Virginia. You know, we get calls all the time. Will you come to Belize? Will you come to Alaska? Will you come to England? And it's funny. My dad asked me. He said, when I first started this, he goes, "How's this work?" He goes, "Somebody invites you to Alaska. What's it take?" And at first I was like, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a can of pop, right? I mean, and I'm there. And then all at once it turns into a business, and it's like, okay, how do we skin this?
So the business end of it, you have sponsors now. Can you talk a little bit about who's sponsoring Fly Rod Chronicles?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've been blessed with that. Right now, you know, our headline sponsor is the state of West Virginia.
Yes.
You know, highlighting the state parks, like we talked about, highlighting tourism and showing off what our Division of Natural Resources is doing. So we've been very blessed to be with them. One of our first sponsors out of the gate, when we were starting our show, there was 2 students at Texas Longhorns, and they said, let's make a cooler. Let's make it thicker, bigger, hold ice longer, and that's when Yeti was developed. And so Flip Pallet and myself was two of the first ambassadors at day one, and they're still one of our sponsors.
A massive brand.
Yeah,
Yeti.
yeah, they've exploded, and to be able to grow with them and to see it, that's awesome. Frog Togs has been a really good sponsor, and we're learning more about the outdoor gear with them.
Yeah, great products. I have several of their rain suits, actually. Frog Togs. I have a bunch of Yeti stuff too.
There you go.
Love it.
You got to.
Yeah.
Hook is so cool. Like right out of the gate, I met the two owners of Under Armour when I started this. Yeah. So I went down to the harbor in Baltimore and got to meet everybody down there. And Under Armour was our first clothing sponsor. Yeah. All those guys loved to hunt and fish at Under Armour, all the executives. So they got together and started this Marijuana Outdoors. So on the hunting side, they have Nomad hunting gear, and then on the fishing is Hook. Yeah. So a lot of people are like, "Hey, what's this Hook?" They did a marvelous job of tagging that, because they want people to have that communication. Yeah,
exactly.
And so it's Hook, HUK.
Yeah, exactly. That's wonderful. Yeah. I love it, and it's a great story. And hats off to you. You've got some great sponsors, some great brands behind you, Curtis. When you think about, like we talked a little bit about geography. We talked a little bit about running this as a business. I mean, it's not, you're 5% fishing, right? Even though you say I fish as your 2-second pitch. Yeah. What, do you have employees behind the scene? Do you have a crew? How does that all function?
Yeah. And we're proud to say that, we employ West Virginia people, right? Yeah. One time we went down to fish with Governor Justice, and I said, we're all just like misfits, It's like I didn't sign up to have a TV show, One of our producers learned on YouTube. It's like, that's cool. It's like maybe I have a master's degree, but not in fishing or not in TV. Yeah. So
you figured it out as you went.
Yeah, that's it. That's
really
it.
Cool.
Just kind of learning, and again, like what we're talking about, sponsors, which some of our national sponsors starts right here locally, with J.R. Toothman Ford's been really good to us, and just having, Colombo Law, Dino tells everyone, he's like, the only fly fishing show in the world that has to have an attorney present, So he makes sure that he has to go try out some of the fish.
Hurt by a truck?
Yeah,
Dino.
Well, he's trademarked that.
That's right.
So I want to trademark hurt by trout. Call Colombo Law, right?
I love it. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
that could work.
That's got
right?
A lot of promise, Curtis. Yeah. I love it. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
My name's Caitlin Furby. I'm an interior designer with Remarkable Interiors. Our time is very limited. We're trying to do everything we can possible to keep our clients' projects moving and rolling. So Storymaker has been really great for us for putting out how to explain our company. I can sit and agonize about a post. And is this right? Does this sound good? When I use Storymaker, it sounds so beautiful and it was so easy, and it saves me a lot of time to do the things that I'm really good at.
Stay connected with an unbeatable deal from Breezeline. Get reliable, fiber-powered 500 megabits internet for $39.99 per month with a $100 gift card and price lock guarantee, plus a free modem, free installation, and free Wi-Fi your way. Folks, here at Interaction Media, we're a media company, and we rely on high-speed internet every single day to get our jobs done. That's why we use Breezeline. It's affordable, it's fast, and they're awesome people as well. Learn more at breezeline.com. Folks, we're visiting today with Curtis Fleming. He's the founder and host of Rod Chronicles, an amazing success story right here in West Virginia. Curtis, I don't know if you could boil it down to one, but what's one of the most interesting things you've seen in all your years of producing Rod Chronicles?
Man, there's so many of them, to getting to travel to different places. Here's one thing that I always tell everyone, even if you go to the Seychelles Island, or, you go to Argentina and you see some of the greatest places, coming back home is the greatest. Yeah. We're so spoiled in America. Yeah. Even some of the top fishing resorts, top tourism resorts, there's nothing better than being home here in West Virginia.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
I agree with that. What's your favorite place to fish for with a fly rod in West Virginia?
So in West Virginia, I always
Can you narrow it down?
Well, it's so tough, right?
Yeah.
Because do you want to be a muskie fisherman
That's right, yeah.
and fish the new and all that?
That's right.
Trout, I always tell people that Elkins is like the perfect hub.
Yeah.
If I had to go camp or stay in a hotel, it'd be Elkins, because Spruce Knob is right there in Randolph County, is the highest point in West Virginia. Yep. So you got so many streams that come off of these
tributaries,
high mountains, So that's kind of the hub, because from there you can go over to the Elk, you can do Gandy, Glade, you can go over to the North Fork, Upper Shavers, Lower Shavers.
It's like trout central, really, especially in the springtime. Can't beat it. My wife's father has a camp on Glady Fork, the Lower Glady, and it's just gorgeous.
Love it.
One of my favorite places to go.
God's country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Curtis, in terms of growing Fly Rod Chronicles, you're in your 22nd season now.
Yeah.
What's the biggest obstacle that's like facing you right now? What's the challenge of growing this thing?
Yeah. So, sponsor relationship is something that it's hard because you're on the road a lot, but you have to keep those relationships. Mm-hmm. So I think it's balancing the partnerships, sponsorships, and keeping that going. I always say, I don't think my editors can keep up with me, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like trying to get to as many places. Not only do we air the show, like Sunday, I spent over in Doddridge County, and my roommate from college is the principal over there. So he got a new tradition, starting seniors coming in a few days before school started. So I got to go over there and tell them my story.
No kidding.
Yeah, and talk to them about what I do. I talked to the school about maybe an internship, involving kids, getting kids into it.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
Giving
doing.
back.
It is giving back.
And I think that's really important, obviously, especially with our youth. We're trying to keep more of these young people in the state of West Virginia, because we have I call it a brain drain. You've probably heard that term before, but we need to keep our young people and getting them plugged in, giving them a vision. Let's say cast a vision, right?
Exactly. Love it.
Cast a vision, because, if we can instill that in these young people, I think they can see, there is opportunity here in West Virginia.
Yeah.
We don't have to leave.
Yeah.
Let's do something here. Let's build something like Curtis did.
Yeah.
So to that point, if you were talking to a young person and they were thinking about maybe starting a business here in West Virginia, what would be a piece of advice you would give them?
The first thing I tell them is, I personally was not a good student until I got to college and figured out I need to be a good student.
Yeah.
I just and they, Jim, we're the same age. They didn't diagnose ADHD or ADD. They just said we were bad kids.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't stay focused. Now, my wife says that's a blessing, because now I've got so many people I have to, I have to manage and talk with and everything. So maybe the ADD helps me in that area, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I explain to kids that you don't have to be a 4.0 student to do this. I also explain to them that you don't have to make a decision at age 17 what you're going to do.
Ooh,
and you can change your directions. And I tell them how I was a teacher, but I had a dream to do this show.
Yeah.
So I just try to tell them that, hey, I'm a son of a coal miner. We didn't have a lot growing up. My mom stayed home, raised 3 ornery boys, and I just try to tell them my story and give them hope.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that. You're a leader. You're a leader in the industry. You're at ICAST speaking with these top-level executives. You've got national sponsors. What do you think is one of the most important attributes of a successful business leader today?
It's not what you know. I think you just show them your heart. You show them that, listen, I'm not wearing hook clothing because you're giving me a paycheck. I'm wearing it because I like it.
Yeah.
And we don't do relationships that we're not comfortable with. Anytime we can do relationships with Christian people, we're huge fans,
Amen.
right?
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah, but I've found the majority of our relationships is just letting them know you and knowing your heart and knowing that you believe in their product.
Yeah. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. That's what you just hit on right there.
Yeah.
And that's truth.
Yeah.
That's I can't argue with that.
Right.
Curtis, I'd like to, you got your new season coming up here, season 22, right?
Yeah.
Can you tease us a little bit? Like, when's the season starting, and what can we expect this season?
Yeah, this is going to be a fun season. We got to do some really cool things with West Virginia Division Natural Resources. We got to do a float trip over on the trough. I know you've been down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that just, it's just like all the stars lined up this year. Fortunately, we got out before the drought and got all of our shows shot in West Virginia. So we were, that was a God thing.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
So we get to show off the trough. Also, we got to do we got to do a show down on the New River.
Yeah.
And anytime we can get out on the New River, we love it. We always go back to Harmon's. That's been that was probably our first sponsorship there at Harmon's Cabins.
Yeah, Harmon's Cabins.
Yep.
It's a great place. My wife and I love to go there. Of course, that's on the North Fork of the South Branch of the Potomac.
There you go. You nailed it. Yes, sir.
You gotta think before you say it.
You do.
There's a lot of words there.
Yeah,
that's great. So one of the things that I think is really cool is that even through all these years, you go to these exotic locations, but West Virginia is one of your sponsors, the state of West Virginia and tourism and the DNR and promoting all that. Mm-hmm. But you always come back to West Virginia. How many shows a year do you do in West Virginia?
Yeah. So we try to do a minimum of 6 shows in the state.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And, someone said, are you going to run out of places in the state? Absolutely not. Hey, Jim, I've been in 49 states, caught fish in 48 states, and I tell everyone we have the biggest and most beautiful playground right here in our backyard.
I love it. Yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Curtis, as we wrap up our time here, first of all, I've enjoyed our conversation. You've been an awesome story. I've loved watching you over the years and how the show's evolved. How can our folks learn more about Fly Rod Chronicles and maybe even get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is, flyrodchronicles.tv is in television. Yep. After our shows air nationally, Jim, we also put them on Sunday mornings on WDTV here in Clarksburg. Then we're down in Parkersburg on WTAP and then WVVA in Beckley. So we show all of our shows here in the state of West Virginia on Sunday mornings.
I love it.
So they can catch us there on Sunday mornings at 8:30, or they could go to YouTube and check out Fly Rod
definitely.
Chronicles.
We'll have links to all that, Curtis, in the show notes as well, and social media. Our guest again today is Curtis Fleming. Curtis, thanks again for being here in the studio. It's been an honor to have you. I love what you're doing for promoting West Virginia, promoting your sponsors, and really following your passion over the last 22 years. So hats off to you. Keep up the great work, man.
Thank you, brother.
We'd like to thank our partners, Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Key of Morgantown, Interaction Media, Storymaker, and our studio sponsor, Breezeline, for helping to share these positive stories. If you'd like to become a sponsor of the Positively West Virginia podcast, visit positively.wv.com/sponsor.
It's a wrap on another episode of Positively West Virginia. If you or someone you know would be a great guest on our show, drop us a line on our website at positively.wv.com. And of course, we appreciate your encouragement and support along the way and for sharing these episodes as well. On behalf of our entire Positively West Virginia team, including our producer today, Mr. Justin Schofield behind the controls, I'm your host, Jim Matuga. Stay positive, West Virginia. That's a wrap, man.
Man, this guy's good, isn't he? Huh?
Well, I'm just an amateur. I'm an amateur, honestly. Yeah. Guys, what did you think of that show, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that work? Yeah. I like it.